Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. We have a great show for you today. Well, Chad Daybell, find out where he's going to spend the rest of his life. Alec Baldwin. Guess what? There may be a surprise witness in his trial against him. Check out this sniper's shot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Boogeyman does exist. All right, so when your kids tell you the Boogeyman is underneath the kid's bed, believe him. The defense rests in the Hunter Biden case and what some people will do for their 15 minutes of fame and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that like button if you do. Leave me a comment below and hit that little bell for notifications, all right? And remember, you can listen to us anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Okay, been one of those days. You know, when you think that everything is all planned out. I was going to go to court in Denver. I resolved the homicide case. Then I was going to go to another jurisdiction this afternoon. And then guess what? I was going to go to a jail visit for a court appearance tomorrow. And that all got changed by simply saying yes to one little request of a judge today. And I will be probably spending the rest of my day in court. So I have this brief opportunity to spend it with you. So we're going to bring you the all the top news in the true crime world, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know it's over. You would think Chad Daybell, he has been sentenced to death as it relates to the death of his wife, Tammy Daybell, J.J. Vallow, and Tylee Ryan, the two children of Lori Vallow, his wife and her fifth husband. Anyway, he has finally been booked into the Idaho Maximum Security Institution. We brought you his smiling little face Friday, and doesn't he just look happy? Doesn't he look content? Some people said, I'm not even sure that's the same guy. I think it's the same guy, but it's almost like a weight has been taken off of his shoulder. At least now he'll know where he's going to be. He's going to be in prison. Yeah, I doubt he's going to say, let's go do the death penalty thing. So it'll take the next 40 years. He'll probably die of natural causes before that. But he has now found himself a comfy little home. Do you think he's going to be in protective custody? Well, he's on death row. Death row inmates are usually segregated from the other inmates, even if they are, in fact, serving a life sentence. The reality of it is they got nothing to lose. They're already getting sentenced to death. So they try to keep them separate from everybody else because they don't want them to harm somebody else. Because, you can be quite devious and evil if you've been convicted of a death sentence. And so, therefore, the state tries to keep them away. All right. Next on the docket, Alec Baldwin. He's going to get a surprise visitor at his next trial. And let me tell you why. Okay, we mentioned this a little bit last week, but here's the deal. Remember the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez? She was convicted of the unintentional manslaughter, and she got an 18-month prison sentence, right? The defense wants to use her as a witness. The prosecution wants to use her as a witness. Needless to say, she doesn't want to participate for anybody. She wants to go do her time and move along. So here's a couple of things. Now, the prosecution, they want their cake and eat it too. I want to prosecute you, but then I want you to come be a witness. Well, Miss Hannah Gutierrez still has Fifth Amendment rights, and so therefore she cannot be compelled to testify without immunity. That's right. They can't call her to the stand because basically the judgment of conviction is not final until all the appeals are done. Then it enters. Then she could begin her post-conviction relief if she sought to do that, but she's still serving prison time. She's not happy with the prosecutors, right? And she's probably not very happy with Mr. Alec Baldwin as well. Remember Alec Baldwin? Tried to blame her, throw her under the bus. I doubt that she had her attorney's fee paid for by Alec Baldwin. No, she did not. And this is a mistake that co-defendants make so often, right? The prosecution's like, well, we can get whatever we want because we're the state. And, oh, you want to assert your Fifth Amendment rights and not testify? Well, guess what? We can grant you immunity to force you to testify. And then say, but we won't use your statements against you in a subsequent trial if your case is reversed. So, Judge, what's the problem? No harm, no foul is what the prosecution will argue. Now, the defense cannot compel a witness to testify, and the defense certainly has no ability to grant somebody immunity. So the prosecution, has their cake and eat it too. The defense can't do that, makes it a little more difficult. But in this position, both sides want Miss Hannah Gutierrez to testify for little bits and pieces of information that they believe are beneficial. So a hearing has been set for next week for this case, June 21st. It's going to be rather interesting. My prediction is that the judge will order that Miss Hannah Gutierrez will be forced to testify with a grant of immunity. What happens if Miss Hannah Gutierrez does not testify? She can be held in contempt, usually up to 6 months. She may say, bring it on, Judge. Don't care. Not helping anybody. I've seen that happen before, and I could see where a witness would do it again. So what can you do? We'll have to wait and see. The plot thickens. Little rule of thumb out there, practice pointers. If you could be in the hot seat, you need to take care of the people that you hope are going to protect you. If you don't do that, they start to feel abandoned. They start to feel like they're alone. They start to feel like nobody cares about what happens to them, but now everybody cares what happens to Mr. Alec Baldwin. So isn't that interesting? Isn't it how the things work out? Never hurts to be nice, does it? Particularly when you're a wealthy, rich actor like Mr. Baldwin, you think he'd be like, hey, we're jointly aligned. Let me help you with those attorney's fees. Let me see what I can do to help you. Didn't quite work out. But nobody ever listens to Scott Reich. Hell, what does he know? Anyway, next, check out this. So Sterling Ramon Alavache goes into a Bank of America in Florida and just happens to take 2 hostages and holds them at knife point. And at one point, he has one of the victims in a headlock with a knife there. Now, little does Mr. Alavache know that his days are just about done, okay? Because the cops are there. They're literally outside the door saying, don't do it, don't do it. And the sniper for the Lee County Sheriff's Office, literally with his rifle on the shoulder of a fellow officer, takes the shot. The shot goes straight through a monitor and is traveling with such force, hits Mr. Alavache, killing him instantly. Now, we are certainly not promoting, harming other people. No. But that is an impressive shot, I must say. Particularly because when sometimes a bullet hits objects, they could go any which direction. But this one had so much velocity behind it because of the sniper rifle that it went straight in and got the bad guy. Now, both of the bank workers were unharmed, other than probably a little psychological effect, having the guy that, holding you at knife point basically drop dead. But this is an example of, you want to harm other people. You are a violent, dangerous person. Threaten somebody with the police there. Guess what? They're going to take you out. Saves everybody a lot of time and expense, so to speak. And what can you do, ladies and gentlemen? What can you do? All right, next on the docket. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Boogeyman does exist. Now you say to me, Scott, what's the Boogeyman? All right, if you've ever had kids, everybody knows the Boogeyman is that imaginary figure underneath your children's bed. But guess what? Next time your kids say that there is a boogeyman in the room or in the closet, take him seriously. Why? Well, it won't be this guy, Ahmad Hassan, who is the real-life boogeyman, according to the police. And we'll know he'll be in custody for the next 2 years. But what did this come about? How did this come about? So back on Halloween of last year, apparently it was raining. Not a great night to go trick-or-treating. And some homeowners, a mother and her child, 2 children, had gone out trick-or-treating. And when they came home, guess what? They found some clothes in the house that they didn't recognize, and they were wet, obviously from the rain. Anyway, they go and check out what's going on. And in another room, they find this Hassan guy lying on the floor, stretched out like a starfish, right? Like that. And what is he wearing? He's wearing one of the young boys that lives in the house, orange underwear. That's right, the boy's underwear. Anyway, needless to say, the matter went to trial, and I'm not going to say that I'm a expert on the British system, but apparently the evidence was quite overwhelming. The defense really didn't do much. Needless to say, mom and kids still traumatized, terrified. Kids apparently still can't even go into the house or their bedroom without thinking the boogeyman exists. And why shouldn't they? Because they found one. It's not like they never found it. They found this guy. Anyway, listen to the kids, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if they say there's a boogeyman in the closet, there's a monster in the closet, go check it out. The man naked, a grown man, a 28-year-old man naked, except for wearing the young child's underwear. Next on the docket, the defense rests in the Hunter Biden trial. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to criticize other courts because sometimes things take long. For example, like the little case in Boston that we've been bringing to you live streaming. That case is never going to end. They do a couple of days, a couple hours here and there. Even the case with the former president in New York took forever. They had a week off from the time the evidence rested till closing arguments. In this particular case with Hunter Biden in Delaware, the defense rested and prosecution called a rebuttal witness rather quickly, and I'll explain that in just a second. But then they were moving straight into closing arguments. That's how 99% of the trials are done everywhere else in the world. So it blows my mind when I see these staggered 1 day here, maybe 2 days in a row here, 4 hours here. I mean, how could a juror even remember what the heck is going on? But I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so before closing arguments began, the defense rested. The prosecution was going to do a brief rebuttal case. And so the prosecution called an FBI agent, Erica Jensen, to the stand. And basically what they did was introduce some more text messages that showed that Hunter Biden was still using drugs literally the day before he allegedly bought this firearm, which is the firearm that he is being accused of buying when he is a drug addict. That's right. You cannot have a gun if you are an addict. And what was that text message? The text message that the prosecution was holding on to are text messages between Hunter Biden and his drug dealer, and they were setting up this drug deal literally the day before he bought the gun. Hence, one could reasonably conclude, drawing all inferences from the evidence, that Hunter Biden was still an addict when he purchased the gun, and when he did not say or denied being addicted to anything, guess what? That would be untruthful. Now, the first thing that the prosecutors noted when they started their closing argument was that, hey, nobody is above the law. And also the fact that there's a lot of important people sitting in the courtroom today. You can't use that. That's not evidence. People sitting in the gallery is not evidence. Why? Because Jill Biden was there for some of the proceedings in this case originally. A lot of important people apparently stopped by to show their moral support for him. But that is not any sort of defense. It's not any evidence of anything. Needless to say, the prosecution laid out their case. The defense is saying, hey, he was drinking. He wasn't doing drugs during that time. He was doing his best. You can't say that he knowingly lied when he purchased that firearm. We'll see what the jury is going to do. Now, I know some people like, oh my gosh, you talk about Hunter Biden, you must be for Trump. Then I talk about the Trump case, and people say, you're not Trumpy enough. You're not telling more facts. So I like to think that we call on it the way it is, because everybody gets upset with me when I talk about cases that have a political twist to them. Like I said, if I talk about a story about Trump, I get beat up in the comments saying, you're a Trumpster. Then I do another story saying, you're anti-Trump. I did a story the other day about Hunter Biden. How can you talk about this? Oh my gosh, we don't care. You're just pro-Trump. And then the other day we did something else about Hunter Biden, and we get told that we're pro-Biden, that we're going too soft on him. And by the way, did you see that new video? P. Diddy and Hunter Biden? Yeah, apparently come from the same cut of cloth, I guess. I don't know. Something about women leaving their hotel rooms. They're not really into it. It literally shows Hunter Biden chasing after a woman. He's completely naked. She is running down the hall. He literally drags her on her back to the room and into the room by her ankle. Like, is this some sort of caveman thing going on? Unbelievable. Next on the docket, what will some people do for their 15 minutes of fame? Well, in Iowa, there is a guy that's charged with killing 3 people and critically injuring a 4th. Now, paramedics found 3 people dead and 1 critically hurt after a call late Wednesday afternoon. And investigators say 34-year-old Luke Truesdell is responsible for the murders. Apparently, the district attorney is saying that they had included in their complaint that Mr. Truesdell had admitted to striking the people with a metal pipe in or around the head or face. And that appears at this point in time and at least contributed to at least the cause of death, according to the district attorney. So the people who died are Romondus Cooper, Kiana Ryan, and Amanda Parker. And the person that was beat very severely was Brent Brown. He's in the hospital in critical condition. And why did Mr. Truesdell attack these people? Well, he was hoping, because of his attack on the victims, that somebody would make a movie about his crimes. Now, that's absolutely quite sick, don't you think? That somebody would literally fantasize about having a movie made about them killing people? That's evil, ladies and gentlemen. That's evil, Mr. Truesdell. You're evil. Now, we'll give you the presumption of innocence like we do everyone that we talk about on this show. But if that's the reason, if that's true, based upon your Mirandai statement to the police, that's evil. Evil. Let me know. Ultimate punishment on that one? Or do you think they'll go soft? You know, he was on drugs. Maybe he had a poor childhood. Maybe his mom didn't let him breastfeed long enough. I don't know. All those things the defense attorneys will come up with. Or just sick. Maybe he needs to be comped. Maybe he's not mentally healthy. Maybe he needs to go to the state mental institution. I guess we'll find out soon enough. And then finally today, our dumb criminal of the day. If you've ever had kids, right, you've heard of Optimus Prime, right? He was a character in Transformers. That was where the aliens from outer space came down. They disguised themselves as vehicles and cars and things of that nature. Anyway, Optimus Prime was one of the characters, like I said, from the Transformers. And Optimus Prime was turned himself from a truck when he wasn't helping other people, I guess. Anyway, take a look at this guy. His name, too, is Optimus Prime. What are the odds? Well, it's also Optimus Prime Blakely. So what did Mr. Optimus Prime Blakely do? Well, he was driving around in a stolen vehicle. And unlike the real Optimus Prime, that's right, he could not transform into another vehicle. He was arrested for the theft of the motor vehicle and is currently being held in the Travis County Jail for $8,000. So why is Mr. Optimus Prime Blakely the dumb criminal of the day? Hey, if you're going to take the name of Optimus Prime, the name known to young children all around the world, by God, you better be able to transform yourself when you need to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution matters. It's the rules, the playbook, not only for the government, but for the criminal justice system. Therefore, you need to know it and you need to understand it. We'll see you next time.